season begins and a 5-race chase for the Cup about to kick off. What better place than at one of the ultimate wildcard tracks? It's the biggest, baddest track in all of NASCAR. It is the Talladega Superspeedway. Welcome to Green Flight TV. My name is Ola Rambo, bringing you all of racing action from start to finish. It is round one of the chase and a top 10 shootout about to commence. See who will start their championship fight off on a high here this afternoon. Boy, and what a shakeup we've had so far in this championship. Jason Garcia not able to contend for a championship after he finds himself down and out of the points after he could not get enough in the season finale at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Robert Anderson currently with the points lead, 4,004. And that puts him 3 above Ryan Shelton with 3 wins on the boards. From there, Ethan Amber, Jason Taylor, Manazzi Major, Tim Branson, Josiah Vincent, Martin Blute, Joey Bear, and Christopher Darling will be the top 10 that will fight for the chase. And then, of course, the points for everyone else have been reset in a Best for the Rest championship. That championship currently headed up by Brandon Fetterplace. Took 1 win on the season in his first ever start at the Brickyard to kick off this championship. Other wins include 1 from Garcias and 1 from Ben Mashburn. It's all eyes on Darley right now to see if the driver that won the title in the inaugural season of this championship can find himself back to glory. But with Robert Anderson and Ryan Shelton having put down 4 and 3 wins apiece this season, it is going to be an extremely tall order for Darling to be able to do much when you've got such fierce competition at the head of this thing. Robert Anderson in particular has been absolutely tearing it up around the circuit with those 4 wins. He has had one of the most consistently good championships that we have seen in some time, short only of Brody Gunter's efforts in the SRO Next Gen Cup Series on Sunday nights. So there is a lot riding on getting the good start this afternoon. Only 5 races remain. You cannot afford to start this championship run on the back foot. You have to advance quickly, as you got yourself with a couple of wildcard rounds. We, of course, kick things off at Talladega. Then next week, it is Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Homestead Miami Speedway for the last race, and the last 1.5-mile cookie cutter track in October. The second to last race sees a swing down to the paperclip itself, and we close things out in Avondale, Arizona at the Phoenix Raceway on November 14th. So still a lot riding on this championship, and you know for a fact that everybody is going to be gunning for this afternoon. It's 80 laps on the docket, and I have a feeling we are going to be in for something special here this afternoon. Qualifying as it stands is currently underway from the Talladega Superspeedway. I want to quickly thank some of the guys who helped keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series in their 3rd season of competition. Tonight's race is brought to you by Brookstone Animal Hospital. Brookstone Animal Hospital is a AAHA accredited full-service veterinary, medical, boarding, and grooming facility serving Metro Atlanta, with a mission to provide modern and up-to-date medicine while also tailoring care to the health and well-being of all animals. Visit BrookstoneVet.com to schedule your appointment today. And by Beer Street Journal, one of the largest online collections of original content dedicated to covering beer culture, education, and the advancement of the beer industry. With thousands of articles, millions of unique visitors, and exposure in over 200 countries, Beer Street Journal is paving the way to enabling category growth and engaging in the better consumer taste for years to come. BeerStreetJournal.com, the best in beer. As well as that, we are going to also give a quick shout out here as well to none other than the driver that's going to be kicking things up a notch here this afternoon. There is a lot riding on the line for folks this afternoon, and you have a feel, and you know for a fact that everybody here is going to be having an absolute time of it this afternoon. So, who's going to be on top this afternoon? We'll find that out in just a little while. For now, we're going to get ourselves sorted with your starting grid coming at you from Talladega. And we'll thank the rest of our sponsors here on the Formation Lab. But for now, starting this race on pole position, it is none other than points leader entering the 9, Bobby Anderson for Dirty South Racing. Picks up the way with Richard Reagan down to the number 2 spot for Legacy Esports. Tim Branson out of California starts his run in 3rd. Sean Boundy for MBX3 Race will be down in the number 4 spot. Still running under the Rebel Racing colors, though, this afternoon. Ethan Amber for Highline starts 5th. Martin Blute down in 6th. Another points contender, along with championship contender Manazzi Major. Stan Hauser brings it up in 8th. Kyle Holden for Team Watson Racing is in 9th, with Josh McDougall rounding out the top 10. Ryan Shelton brings it up in 11th with Garrett Austin in 14th down the field. Sandwich between them is Colton Easterday and Jason Taylor. Nate Gotilla starts 15th. Joey Barrett in 16th. Jason Shoes 17th. Mark McFadden back in 18th. Through the field, going to have none other than Christopher Darling in 19th. Carl Charles in 20th. Ryan Newman in 21st. Pirog 22nd. Zenarius Days 23rd. Chris Sawyer in 24th. Matt Allen 25th. Tom Amasi 26th. Jason Racias 27th. Caleb Sheets 28th. Zachary Cox and Zach Williams bring up the field for a 30-car grid. It is one of the largest fields we have had in the Speed Cup Series this afternoon, and there is still a lot riding on this field to see who's going to end up where by the end of this racing action here this afternoon. Once again, going through the rest of the spots for the Speed Cup Series. Tonight's race all as well brought to you by Twisted Steel Steak Appeal. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal by Marty Plude has a solid punch of sweet and a heat flavor that lingers to let you know it's there. Marty Plude is an award-winning Steak Cook-Off Association chef and has finally revealed his secret recipe rub that blows you away with flavor. Steak veggies, fish, pork, and poultry. Twisted Steel Steak Appeal is a rub above the rest. And by Simrap Market, as well as by Tires Plus Total Car Care. From simple oil changes to bracelet alignments, Tires Plus service has service that keeps you in the driver's seat. We are ready to rumble. Cars fired up, all 30, ready to take off from Dega. All 30 cars able to make the start here this afternoon. And you know for a fact that a lot of drivers have got a lot riding on racing action here this afternoon. It's only a question now who's going to be on top at the end of 80 laps. You cannot afford a single misstep, especially when you've got two wild card rounds within the chase. Those tracks, of course, being Talladega and Martinsville. The field working itself through turn numbers 1 and 2 down the super stretch. Boy, oh boy, I mean, I think this has got to be one of the most hotly anticipated races that the Speed Cup Series has had in a while. It's a massive field as well. More cars than we've seen in a while on the grid here in the second season of 2024. The record was 36 set at Daytona all the way back in August. Since then, they have not exceeded 30. There was only 16 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago, at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, 28 the week before. Consistently been in the mid to high 20s, save for last week. So really happy that you still got a lot of drivers still showing up. They might not have a chance to face off for the playoffs and the overall championship, but they still have got the opportunity to fight for best of the rest, as all the points from 11th on back have also been reset, one per position down through the field. So as always, we're happy that you are joining us for more absolutely thrilling racing action on Green Flag TV. The iRacing safety car making the duck down and into pit road. Bobby Anderson taking the number 5 Kellogg's Frosted Flakes Camry into the tri-oval. It's a long way for the restart zone. That's an early launch, and that might not fly as Anderson is off and away. Green flag drops, a huge jump start for Anderson, and we're underway from Talladega. Look out, trouble off of turn number 4. Multiple cars going around. Do they hang on? Devin Pirog is in there. Stan Housen got in it. Jason Shue was one of the cars that got sent sideways. Looking like they're all going to pedal it and hang on. Richard Regan Jr. leading the way for Legacy Esports off of turn number 4 as he takes lap number 1 to the green flag. That jump start really discombobulated this field. They were not able to get themselves sorted as a result, but a wild moment coming out of turn number 4 there, as we nearly just had the entire pack getting sent round. Let's take a look back and show you what happened. They were going 3 wide. I was already holding my breath here. Then they went 3 wide, 2 rows deep. And then the 13 and Cotilla just drifted out. They went 4 wide for a moment, and cars scrambled into the infield. What a great save, though, from the field early on. That easily should have been a big, big accident. But for now, Regan leading the first 2 laps to the green flag for the Talladega Superspeedway. Menacimation trying to cut down low. Now the 59 of Kyle Holden being shuffled back in the middle lane. As he is split by the 95 and the 5. Colton Easterday up 1. He got a pack of about 11 or 12 packed up here, although that 12th place driver, Stan Housen, dropping back quickly. 13th on back have gotten into a single file line. They are trying to close the gap, but they've got 1.2 seconds to Houseman up the road. So they got to get a move on here if they want to have a chance on forming back up with the top end of this field. A 3rd pack forming deeper in the field. This is with all the drivers that got a bit crossed up out of turn 4 the last time by. Zach Williams has the ways. Chris Darling is in the fray. Jason Matt Allen. Zach Williams making his first start in the Speed Cup Series here this afternoon. So we got quite a few drivers making some starts that we haven't seen around as regular runners all championship long so far. Regan continuing to lead the way. Then it is Easterday, Holden, Boundy. I think they've realized how vulnerable they are from that pack getting single file out behind, because now you see them doing the same as they're trying to get a single line sorted on the outside, but some drivers not agreeing with how to navigate that line. That's Ethan Amber down on the low side, one of the championship contenders. He's going to tuck back in line. Nobody went with him, and that has put him on the back foot now, because he's now just about lost the draft from the cars up in front. He's got to rely on Tim Branson and co behind to push him back into the draft here. They are going to get through that bubble and draft up to the back end of this pack, making it once again 12 cars strong. But just 5 laps in, and we are single file, and all of that comes from a wild moment coming off of turn number 4. Let's ride aboard Devin Pirog throughout all of this, as he had probably one of the wildest snaps of the bunch. One drifts up, and holy cow, he got drilled in the side as well. Barely any wheel work. That was all throttle work that he did to keep that car underneath them. Just let the car catch itself and said, see you later. So pack 1 and pack 2 still within striking distance of one another. That second pack can get formed up a little bit more and try to get something working. They're trying their best, but they're just too far back to realistically do much about it. They've dropped back to 1.8 seconds now and continuing to do so. Pack number 3 behind, headed up by Zach Williams. And throughout all of this, you got 2 cars that are off of the draft altogether. Those drivers being Ryan Newman and Devin Pirog. They both lost the draft after they had that problem in the early stages. Some drivers further down the tail end of this second train, they're trying to open up a lane on the inside, especially folks like Stan Housen there in the number 39, Brookstone Animal Hospital, Chevy Camaro. Just not having much luck with it, though. So Barrett, McFadden, Cox, Charles, and Austin right now of the top 5 in the second pack. They run 13th through 17th right now. Such a tough break for Jason Garcia's also running in the second pack. He, of course, was the defending champion coming into this season. He took it in a wild battle between himself and Ryan Shelton. Unfortunately for him, did not end up panning out the way he had hoped that it might, and Jason Garcia, after having to miss a couple of starts, ended up missing the mark on getting in by, well, only about 11 points. So a tough break for Garcia, the Season 2 champion, not able to contend for a title in Season 3. He is guaranteed to be unseated. The only question, who's going to get it done? Ryan Shelton is a driver that could find himself in a prime position to make a run for that. They were in quite the rivalry throughout the closing stages of Season 2. The see Shelton right now running up in this leading pack. He's not really doing too much in the way of aggression. This first pack, running the outside line throughout these corners. The inside lane was looking, or the bottom lane was looking to follow them in the second train, but they have since jumped to the low side. I think they've realized, hey, we're not gaining any ground here. So let's change things up, see what works. But whereas they were holding within, about 2 seconds over the leaders, ever since they hopped to the inside, they've dropped back double what the gap was in the span of just 2 or 3 laps. So this bottom lane, not really working for them much. I think they're trying to get to the sword. The problem is all these guys in the back, they keep on ducking out of line, and that is hurting their momentum pretty big here as they try to get themselves up and working with some kind of momentum. Right now, though, there's just nothing doing for any of them. And then, of course, this third pack, Stan Hausman has dropped back to the third group, and in this pack, you see your current Season 1 champion, Christopher Darley, in the fray. So Darley seeing what he can do if he can't establish himself as a potential title threat. Richard Regan Jr. continuing to lead the way from the top side of turn numbers 1 and 2 as they cross the start finish line. We have taken the lap counter over to double digits. We got single filed out a lot quicker than I thought we would. I mean, this is the type of racing that I expected us to see after the first part of pit stops. I was not expected to see this only 10 laps into this race. All this single file brake training warming up. I'll tell you what, a lot of the Superspeedway racing, especially in the top levels on iRacing, it's gotten a lot of criticism for racing like this. And I mean, this is just the nature of it, right? I mean, you cannot pass in these cars at these types of tracks without some serious help. And nobody wants to be that one that jumps out of line, because then you run the risk of losing that draft. The second pack is starting to close up to Jason Taylor up the road. And in fact, if we take a look back on what's been going on deeper in this field, and we try to get a proper look on things. Let's do the lap times compared to the 2 train leaders. You can see Joey Barrett in that second pack. He's been closing the gap half a second on lap 8, 6/10 on lap 9, only about a 10th on lap 10, but the gap is closing right now. So this leading pack could be at threat, and if the second train there can get into the draft, they can get a good run going. They could try to size up fast and try to make this a 2-wide race once again. For now, though, 2 trains, 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top. The 1 at the bottom was looking to falter, but now it is slowly but surely starting to reel the gap in. Last time by the line, another quarter-second gained. So Joey Barrett and his crew, I mean, they got something working for them there. I think it took them a few laps to get a little bit more used to how everything runs, and then they were able to tuck things back in line. Here you can see the real cause of the speed. Look at Zachary Cox just pushing Joey Barrett. Oh, look out, trouble in front! Multiple cars around, and we're going to have big trouble. Cars sliding, slamming into one another. That is a big mess up in turn 4. We got caution number 1 on lap 12. Tom Amassi is involved. Championship contender Martin Plout is involved. Carlton Charles is there. Ryan Shelton, a championship heavy hitter, getting involved in that mess. So something happened in the middle of this field. Still not sure what happened. Oh, right there. Looked like Plout hooked Shelton. Take a look. You can see Ryan Shelton trying to open up a door on the inside. Brandt was in the wall, and that's what caused Plout to run to the back of the 92, hook the 99 up, and hard into the outside wall. And Tim Branson slid around. They went down the racetrack right into the middle of the pack. Cleaned out Carlton Charles and Garrett Austin with the escape of a lifetime. And you see Amassi slided it out. After he spun that one out, just trying to avoid, and then look at his days up the racetrack, and that whole backpack did a great job to avoid getting too much involved in this. Yeah, Branson just hooked the wall, and Blue just never lifted. Kind of drove through him a little bit on that deal. Look at Garrett Austin, just squeaked through on the high side, and then here comes that second pack. Just barely managing to slow down for all of this. Several cars coming down to pit road for yellow flag pit stops. Man, that is a heavy hit for Ryan Shelton. I mean, that is what a lick. Let's ride on board here with, we'll get a look at that in just a moment. Right now we got pit stops underway. So several into pit road. 56 to 59, the 36 all getting in there, and they're going to file out of pit road one by one. Fuel only for the most part. Colton Easterday may have taken tires on that one. All the praise right now going to Garrett Austin as he avoided making this a lot worse for himself. Right on board with the Gold Octopus number 430. Little tag to the back of Charles, and whoops, hang on. Just escapes from the high side. Great driving there from him. So yellow flag number 1 out on the speedway. We'll take a step back. When we return, it is more racing action from Talladega on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back. Only half a lap, and then we're going to get this race back on the road. About a quarter of the way through, a wild moment on lap number 1 is what split this field up big time. You saw single file trains forming up. Tim Branson caught the wall. Mark Blute ran him over, turned him into Ryan Shelton, who went face first into the wall. He is now out of this race, and he is hoping some of his other title contenders have themselves with a better afternoon. For now, we'll work ourselves back around to the front straightaway and look to get this show back on the road. Into the restart zone, no jump this time. Richard Regan Jr. hightailing this one off and away. This time we waited for the restart zone. And the field is clear down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. Oh, never mind. We got one on the wall. One car hard into the fence behind. That was Jason Taylor. And the 41 car slides to a stop on the inside. He'll take the tow. Taylor now out of this race. That's another chase contender that's out. And look at the block as Regan trying to keep Sean Bounty behind. Regan keeping the number 36 Rebel Racing car at bay. Take a quick look at what happened off the restart to Taylor. Did he just lose that by himself? No way he lost that all by himself. Take a look. Oh, big stack up. He ran into the back of Jason's shoe. And that's what did him in. Single car spin though, tail end of the field. We will not see a yellow for it. Major and Regan. Now running 1-2 from the outside and inside lanes. Much healthier spread of cars all throughout the racetrack again. 2 lanes, one top, one bottom. And on the straights, that middle line abandoned like the plague. Meanwhile, Minazzi Major jumping up. He will take the lead away from Regan. Regan not having it. Forces the issue 3 wide, but no one goes with him. Joey Barrett muscled into the 3rd groove. Now we got a race. Minazzi Major pushed to the lead ahead of Kyle Holden. In a gamble to retake the lead, Richard Regan Jr. dropping like a stone. 3 wide still for several drivers in the middle of the pack. Sean Bounty currently battling it out for the race lead with others. Jason Garcias, the defending champion, currently in the mix of this whole mess as well. Regan still trying to find where the line is, but I think after that, nobody's decided they wanted to go with him. Oh, Joey Barrett into the wall, Anderson into the wall. Look out, Amasi gets hit. Pirog is checked up. They'll recover, we won't have a wreck. A single file lane started to form up. Sean Bounty leading the way at the head of the field. Major second, Holden third. Then it's McDougall, Amberg, Cox, and Moore. What a wild ride that we are having this afternoon. How about Colton Easterday trying to open up a second lane? He's going to go up to help out Richard Regan Jr. and get him a run going. That outside lane is coming now. Sean Bounty up the road. Minazzi Major still the main push behind. Bounty making the jump over from the OMSRL Cup Series on Tuesday night. So look out, he's going to get turned. Around goes Holden. Back straightaway. Everyone scrambles. I think they're going to avoid the worst of it. But caution number 2 on the night. And rookie driver Sean Bounty has been involved, albeit not from his own doing. That's already in progress. We'll try to get another better look on what went down here as the Rebel Racing Machine. Watch the 59. That's Kyle Holden on the outside. Colton Easterday right behind him. Outside lane's going to condense here. Bounty went up to block. Holden checked up. Easterday did not hooked. Holden right into Bounty. Turned him up and into the outside wall. Joey Barrett, one of the champion contenders, got a piece. Jason Gracias just ducked through there. And Bounty brought it to a stop on the back straightaway. taking a look back. This is going to be at speed. Just that little block, and that's all she wrote. I got to say, I can't exactly blame Easterday and Holden for wrecking there. I mean, it's a very unpredictable thing, but I'll tell you what, this field did a great job on getting around that with no problems. That easily could have and probably should have been a lot worse than it ended up being. Watch here. Just goes up and never got off the bumper. It's all it takes. And let me tell you, it does not take much. Jason Garcia's running in 6th. This is what he saw. Oh, he got clipped by Barrett. Got through unscathed other than that. So several heavy hitters of the championship have been involved in the last little while. Not the drive I can imagine that Ryan Shelton was hoping to have, and I was hoping we could get a chat with him, but seems he has taken to early retirement this afternoon. I cannot entirely say I blame him. It's been a tough break for several. Jason Taylor, one of the drivers that just got involved in some of these later incidents. Once again, a quick shout out as well to all of the sponsors that helped keep the lights on here for the Speed Cup Series tonight's race course. Being brought to you by a litany of sponsors, including Brookstone Animal Hospital, Sim Rap Guy, Beer Street Journal, Twisted Steel Steak Appeal, Sim Rap Market, and Tires Plus Total Car Care. Some drivers still very much in the mix. So championship-wise, things have not been settled yet. There's still a lot in the way that could happen here this afternoon. Let's see if we can potentially get a word in here with Tim Branson for the back of the pack. See how he's feeling after he's been kind of beat around the block so far this afternoon. We'll drag the 92 down and into the broadcast booth. Tim Branson, this is Nolan Rempel for Green Flag TV. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Nolan.
Well, it hasn't been the most ideal of starts to a chase run, but still not out of it. You're still ahead of 2 other playoff contenders that are out of this race. Overall, what's your thoughts on how the night could go for you so far?
Well, now it's just salvage mode. See what I can pick up from cars that possibly fall out. But yeah, I feel terrible about that wreck there on whatever lap that was, 13. They had a check up in front of me as soon as I got out of the throttle. It just drifted up to the fence, and then I had Martin get into the back of me, and it was all she wrote. So, you know, it kind of sucks. I mean, I hate it for everybody that got involved, but you know, that's Superspeedway racing, I guess.
Of course, probably one of the wild-cardest of wild-card races that we could have for a first race of the chase. How important do you think it's going to be that you get a good outing tonight in order to set yourself up for the last 4?
If I can salvage something out of here, I think I'll be all right, but there's no guarantees, especially here at Talladega.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. Still a long night to go, and still lots of chances to make up more ground.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Tim Branson will be restarting his race on 27th. He is several laps down after he was one of the initiating drivers of that lap 12 caution. To be precise, he's almost 10 down. He was in pit road for 11 minutes. He only just got back out onto the racetrack. But still a long way in this one. He is ahead of Plute and Shelton, two pretty heavy hitters, so he's going to be at least on an advantage from two of them. We're going to get set. To kick this race back off as Regan is on the outside. Major is on the inside. Green flag's out, but not to Major bobbles. Regan jumps to the bottom. We're underway once again. Josh McDougall wasting no time in finding a hole to get down to the inside line. Ethan Amberg remaining loyal to that outside groove for now. Pushed by Zachary Cox. Up to fifth, here comes Minazzi Major. Trying to make a run to the lead now. Over a quarter of the way into this race. As Regan, Major, Anderson, and Amber continue to make some runs at one another. We're tracking this one through the tri-oval and down to the front stretch. Regan with the bottom, Major with the top, Anderson and Amberg, the main pushers. Everyone from first back to 24th on the lead lap, they are all in this battle pack. Colton Easterday is out of this race. Tim Branson has got the chance to go for a top 25 as a result of that. Out of everybody so far in this field, so far Tim Branson the only one that's a lap down. So everybody in here is fighting for spots. And this time looking to be I was going to say a little bit more organized as Jason Garcia immediately jump spot at the top to try to see if he can't pick off a more advantageous line. That outside lane started to get some momentum working with it off the corners. On corner entry, the inside, headed up by Regan Jr., is still able to pull out just a little bit more. Working the back straight away. Oh boy! Major jumps to the bottom, and Amber tried to open up a third lane when that happened. So Major now leads the run for the inside. He's going to go side by side with Ethan Amberg now. Two chase drivers, both running for the lead. Zachary Cox is still in the mix. Josh McDougall still working that inside line. Ethan Amberg still remaining on the high side as Major actually jumping back up to cover the outside line. So Major tried to control both lanes here. One by one, the laps tick away. And the intensity is only going to continue to ramp up more and more. You know for a fact that we are not done wrecking yet. We have not seen a proper big one yet. We got close with the lap 12 yellow. So far, incidents have been isolated, though, to about 5 or less cars. Major really opened up a gap on the high side. Some drivers going for 3 wide. The 59 of Kyle Holden dropping back in the field. There is the 69 car of Zach Williams making ahead. And how about this? 3 wide. Nobody wants to work with Reagan. And once again, Richard Reagan Jr. getting caught in the middle, right in that sucker hole. And he is left hung out to dry. Now it's Bobby Anderson to jump up to the high side. He's going to now lead the way. As Major and McDougal continue to duke it out amongst themselves. Josh McDougal leads the way from the inside. Garrett Austin still in the mix. Once again, Anderson jumping to the bottom. Anderson with 4 wins under his belt. He knows what he has to do. If he wants to win this race, he's all sorts of sideways. McDougal making it 3 wide for the lead. Amber looking to make it 4 wide for the lead. Major clears the lot. And Major jumps down to the inside. 3 lines all of a sudden forming up as a result of that. McDougal trying to pitch in the bottom, trying to side draft him. That's a dangerous game to be playing, only 30 laps in. Look at Cox and Amber drive away. The side draft is intense right now. Everybody going every which way. Look out, Matt Allen. Hang on, hang on. McDougal almost turning the 127. 3 wide, 4 rows deep. Up into the wall goes Cotilla. That's how he got caution 1. Be careful of that. Good grief. I mean, this race is really kicking off. It only takes 1 move, and then all hell breaks loose. Matt Allen not done yet! With a 69, not sure where to take it. He's going to be forced to kind of drop it back in line. Holy cow. Zach Williams is having a time of it right now. Oh, you can't push in the corners, guys. What are we doing? It doesn't work. I mean, that's been tried and tested extensively on the iRacing service. It doesn't work. I mean, again, 30 laps in. We got 49 to go. We're not even at halfway. What are we doing? Well, Garcias isn't complaining. He's hopped out with a big gap now as a result of that one. Let's quickly run back down. Josh McDougal is still in there. Devin Pirog is still in there. I think finally we've managed to get it dialed back just a touch. See a huge squabble back here as lost touch from the front runners. They all saw what was going on up here, and they decided, yeah, we're going to take a step back with that one. Still 3 wide. Austin up top, Cotilla in the middle. You're on board with Ryan Newman. Currently running to the number 6 spot. Oh my gosh, I mean, all this wiggling for the top 3 is making me all sorts of nervous. That's allowed Regan to get a move. They're side by side with the lead again. Kyle Holden trying to push up to the front. Josh McDougal, or Manatsa Major, sorry, has said he's had enough. He's going to drop to the tail end with no part in this. All of this, we are approaching halfway. And now dropping back by 3 seconds as this pack at the tail end. They need to get single filed up. They cannot afford to be playing games like this. It's a case of everyone wants to lead and nobody wants to give it up. Sean Bowden, I think, just sent a message there to Matt Allen. Get your butt in line. We need to be working together. You're only hurting yourselves doing this. Allen, though, not getting the memo. So the top 17 on a breakaway. What a wild ride it's been so far. And I mean, again, this is only the first chase race. There's 4 more that are still yet to come. Josh McDougall and Jason Gracias still leading the way. Regan and Holden have tried to make an advance down to the inside, and well, that alliance just got broken apart because Josh McDougall just jumped to the inside, completely ditching Gracias there. So Pirog going to link up on the inside as well. The 56 of Richard Regan Jr. trying to make some moves as well. Zach Williams is now the main pusher for the outside with Garrett Austin and Chris Sawyer just behind him. Green flag pit stops. When do we see them? Will we see them? We're about to be turning lap 37 with green on 23s. We're now in the longest green flag run of this race. Jason Garcias is having none of this. He's going to drop to the back. Benazzi Major might be trying to claw back through the field. And Garcias finds a hole. So Holden and Regan running the high side. Oh my goodness, as McDougall and Pirog immediately jump bottom to top. Outside lane started to form up. They're on the move. They don't want to stop. Look at the charge for the 45. McDougall pushed to the front by Devin Pirog. What a move. They're not going to get clear as Regan and Holden go down, and they stall the run with the side draft. But boy, what an attempt. Garrett Austin now going to jump to the inside. They had one chance to make that work, and it failed. But boy, that was an effort. Lap traffic up the road. It's Tim Branson. Now up to 25th. He's going to stay up against the outside wall. Let these guys through on the bottom. Coming up on the 2 laps to go before we'll hit that halfway mark. And still no signs of anybody yielding throughout this field. A lot of drivers have been making some dicey maneuvers, trying to claw their way to the head. Problem is, there's not a lot of room for them to be making these moves when they're all trying to make identical moves at the same time. Look at Benazzi Major almost getting turned by Zach Williams. Beautiful save from Major. That has just checked up the entire inside line. Nate Cotilla trying to open up a 3rd lane in the background. So, the 56, the 59, all tucked up in one long battle line. Gracias tucks back into line. There you see Nate Cotilla. Looking for some 3 wide. Zach Williams trying to make a run up the middle, but with no help, he's not going to be able to do much with it. Halfway home, this time by 40 down, 40 to go. Regan Jr. Oh my gosh, every time I open my mouth, somebody tries for something. That time Cotilla tried to go up the middle and it wasn't happening. Tell you what, you gotta really pace yourself when you're doing these types of races solo. I mean, it is something else entirely, having to call all the carnage and all the chaos that can develop at a super speedway. It's a very old saying, but it's like you're playing a game of chess at 200 miles an hour. No place is that truer than at the Talladega Superspeedway. Top 14 now on a little bit of a breakaway. Christopher Doggins and Darius Days have dropped off from this battle pack. And then here is Stan Housen in his secondary train. That is all the way to the tail end from 18th to 23rd, tucked up in a line. How about this? Bit of 3 wide. The 85, the 22 to the 69. Making drives. 3 wide. McFadden's got a little bit of a toe from the train of 4 in that second group in front of him, but it's just been abandoned by 2 of his contenders that have jumped down to the bottom. How about this? Amberg and Garcias were on a breakaway, and they've just gone side by side for the lead. And that lets Regan close right in. Look out as Holden and Cox tuck in line just behind him. Once again, we are formed up. Amberg losing a lot of momentum because of that. He's run about 3-4 miles an hour slower than the outside that entire straightaway there. Couple of 2-car tandems forming. Holden's been really working with Regan this entire time. Garcias and Minazzi Major have linked up. Williams trying to make it a 3-car tandem. All the while, we remain 3 wide. Been 3 wide for about a whole lap now. You see Cotilla working the top. Minazzi Major, Jason Garcia is now jumping down to the bottom. The 85 has lost a lot of touch. And you can see right there, Ryan Newman trying to find somebody that's willing to work with him. I think he forced the issue with Zachary Cox. But look at how much time they have lost to the top 4. Regan, Holden, Williams, Austin, all single file. While Garcias, Cotilla, Major, and Moore are still down to the tail end. Lap 46 of 80, 35 laps on the docket now. By far the longest green flag run that we have had all race long. But how long is it going to last? Because you know as well as I do, that shoe is going to drop sooner or later. The only question is a matter of when. Let's reset how things are going to be looking throughout the rest of the playoff run. Talladega, one of the big wild card races. Then it's Las Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, the other big wild card race in the second to last race. And we finish it out at the Phoenix Raceway on November 14th. So a lot of tracks that frankly are awesome for racing. We should get some good battles throughout the closing stages of the Speed Cup Series and their 3rd season of competition. And I have got to think, with some of the big heavy hitters out of the fight, that we are going to be seeing a 3rd different champion in as many seasons for the Speed Cup Series. If racing action is your thing on the ovals, well, boy, oh boy, do we got you covered over the next little while, as we'll be running down to the SRA Mini Stock Series with the opener at the Track Hawk 50 at Bristol Motor Speedway on Saturday night. On Sunday, the SRL Next Gen Cup Series swings to Joliet, Illinois. They'll be racing at Chicagoland Speedway. And then on Monday night, the High Tide Racing League MFRD Premier Series returns for the first of only 2 road course races on the season down at America's Home for Motorsports and the Charlotte Roval. That'll be followed up on Tuesday by the OMSRL Cup Series with their first playoff elimination round at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and then the season opener of the Beer League from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Canada. Richard Regan Jr. under fire. Minazzi Major, a driver, has not been too eager to work with him all race long, has jumped up to the high side. Major is a championship driver, so you know he's trying to get himself linked up with whatever spots he can muster. You see how many drivers are starting to jump down the inside lane? That tells me they're setting themselves up for green flag pit stops here. Right now, Minazzi Major's been left out to dry. Number 1 cuts in, 1 jumps out. As Bobby Anderson now up to the outside line. Working off turn number 4. Do we see pit stops this time? Not yet. We are past the halfway point. A stop now should get you to the end of this race. Problem is you can't really pit on your own and go for an undercut strategy as if you were on a short track or a 1.5 miles. There's just so much risk around it. You have to pit with at least 3 or 4 others if you want to stand a chance off of pit road. I mean, that I think is the big thing that you got to worry about. So we had a lot of freight training for the first 12 laps, and it took them about another 40 from there, but they managed to get themselves formed up. Here come pit stops. Major is in, Gracias, Cox, Amber, Cotilla, and more, all into pit road. So drivers are all on the pit road now, and this is a healthy handful. Only the top 6 staying out. Everyone else into pit road. No problems with what I'm seeing. Two tires looks to be the call for some, 4 tires for others, but for the most part it is 2 tires, and I'm willing to bet left side. Oh, look out, Amberg! Amberg spins it! Oh, a huge mistake for Amberg! The Highline Motorsports 14 drops it on pit exit. A devastating mistake, as here comes the rest of the top 6. What was that from Ethan Amberg? He just dropped it all by himself. Amberg exits pit road well down the field, right on board. Just spun the wheels out of his pit box. That is a huge mistake. He lost a lot of time from that. 30 laps to go. Nobody being, well, 1 driver actually being caught. Zachary Cox and Josh McDougall, 2 drivers that were caught for speeding on entry. And here comes Major and Gracias pushing through the corners. They somehow managed to make it work. Oh, look out! As Major scrambles to the inside, he'll save it. What a run they had going, yet it's going to fall apart. Whew. I mean, you want to talk about some great racing action. I mean, this action here is on fire. There's still so much more yet to come as well. It's a dash to the end. So Richard Bacon Jr. leads the way. Kyle Holden in second. Williams is behind, closing the gap, so we could have a 5-car train, and that would be bad news for Newman, Austin, Anderson, Pirog, and McFadden, drivers that are only just now getting formed up. Got another pack with Sedarius Days, Christopher Darling, and Ethan Amberg a little ways behind. Cotilla and Sawyer are in it. And then Hausman, Bounty, Amasi, Charles, and Shu, all under a blanket as well. Zachary Cox, now a lap down, will be the bridge between the first and second mini packs here. They'll form up one bigger one, and they're going to be ready to go the distance at the Talladega Superspeedway. So we have got ourselves just shy of a quarter of this race distance left. We're going to take a step back. The race continues on. 2 cautions so far, both in the first half. 23 cars remain on the lead lap. When we return, it's the rest of the race on Green Flag TV. Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Just shy of 20 laps to go for round number 13 of the Speed Cup Series. It is the first race of the chase, and boy, it has been a wild one. To recap, Ryan Shelton and Martin Plute, two heavyweights in the chase for the Cup, were both crashed out of the race on lap number 12. Jason Taylor fell victim as well for the Black Flag Motorsports number 41, so three of your championship contenders are out of this race. Joey Barrett, another title contender, along with Tim Branson, both still in the fight, but they are laps down. As it stands, working their way through the field. You've got other drivers still in the fight. I know Stan Housen is still in the mix. Christopher Darling is still in the mix, along with Ethan Amberg, Bobby Anderson, Manatsi Major are all still in the fray. Right now, Major, the highest driver up. He is running third overall right now, and I believe about fourth in the lead of line, as he's got a lap car of Zachary Cox between himself and race leader Kyle Holden. Taking a look top to bottom through this field, you've got Holding, Racias, Major, and then the lap car of Cox in more than one big battle, and then the second and the second biggest trainer on the racetrack as well. Zach Williams heads the way. Then it is Garrett Austin, Devin Pura, Mark McFadden, Bobby Anderson, Ryan Newman. Of course, Josh McDougall is in the mix after he got caught for speeding. Mark McFadden is also in the mix of this battle as well, in one of his season best finishes so far. Christopher Darling brings up pack number 3, the biggest pack of the lot, but still 12 seconds off the leading group. Behind him is Ethan Amberg, who spun himself out coming out of pit road. He would probably be up there with that leading pack, but that spin out of the pits has put him on the back foot for this one. He runs with Stan Hausman, Sean Bound, Tom Amasi, Carl DeCharles, Jason Shue, Nate Cotillas, Darius Days, and Chris Sawyer. Matt Allen running a bit of no man's land. In fact, he is actually about to go down a lap and pick up the spot for the Brookstone Animal Hospital Lucky Dog. That will be swiftly taken away by Zachary Cox. And then Joey Barrett in the mix of that third pack as well. He is also laps down. Tim Branson running by himself. Colton Easterday, Jason Taylor, Caleb Sheets, Martin Blue, and Ryan Shelton out of the race tonight. 18 laps the distance at this point. Pit stops are complete. The only question, who's going to end up where? Christopher Darling not wanting to lead the way anymore. He jumps to the high side. He'll drop to the tail end and just tuck it wide. So Darling decided, nope, I'm not going to have a part in that one. Off the road, getting a little dice between Zach Williams and Garrett Austin, as Austin gave a bit of a harsh shove to the back of the number 69 Mustang there. They're trying to claw down the top pack, and they're closing the distance as well. In fact, they're closing the distance by quite some margin. They could actually be a serious threat here before too long. The gap there just got down to under a second. If you compare the gap from the front runners all the way back to Zach Williams, that leads the way in that pack. Look at the times. About a second and 1.2 to a second and a half gain on the last 3 laps alone. And it's been consistent. So 2 packs have just become 1, and it is now the biggest pack on the racetrack. Zach Williams trying to open up a door on the outside. Richard Riggin Jr. says, I'm done waiting. He's going to go up with him. Garrett Austin going to the outside. Pirog to the outside. McDougall, Bobby Anderson, Hausman, all making runs for the outside line. The freight training comes to an end as we go double file once again at the biggest, baddest track on the NASCAR circuit. Regan has been a driver that has wanted to run at the front for some time, and you know he is going to, I think, want to stay up there. You know, forget the chase drivers. I'm going for a last-minute glory. Regan is a driver that has not made many starts this season. In fact, he was set to start earlier on. He never actually logged a race. So this is actually being scored as his first official race with the Speed Cup Series. So he wants to make a splash. I'm not sure the playoff drivers are too happy with what he's been doing, though, this race. Compared with nobody really wanted to work with him. Minot's Major jumps up to the top. Devin Pirog tried to open up a third lane, couldn't get it. Regan still working up to the top side. Oh boy, look at the 05 getting down below the yellow line there. Zachary Cox pushing Kyle Holden to the front. I'm surprised that we haven't been seeing Regan and Holden trying to link up. They've been working together all night long. Might see some now that Regan's got a good drive coming off the final corner. Will Holden jump up to the top to help him? Does not look like it. Staying loyal to the inside. I think Holden has just made the decision. He wants to take that win for himself. He doesn't want to help anybody else get to it. The sun casting a more orange glow over the racetrack as it begins to crest towards the horizon. Daylight will not become a worry, though. Kyle Holden continuing to lead the way. The 65 of Zachary Cox is still in the middle of this, seeing what he can do. There's Bobby Anderson, opening up the third lane, 3 wide. Regan goes with him. Devin Pirog jumping up to the high lane. Oh, there we go! It was bound to happen eventually. Crashing the tri-oval. As the 85 goes around, the 22 goes around. We pile them up, and that'll be a third caution of the day with 12 laps to go. Not the way that these drivers are hoping for that race to pan out. They were hoping this one would go green to the end. It was not due to happen, though. 3 wide. Just a bad bump from McDougall to the 65. That shot McDougall up the track at a huge hit into the wall for McDougall there. Kicked him up and into the air, almost upside down. The 85 of Ryan Newman slides to a stop. Oh, shades of Kevin Harvick with that one in 2016. And poor Garrett Austin just had nowhere to go. Did a good job, though, to wait before everyone got around him. On board with McFadden. McFadden as well did a good job. He held that car up against the outside wall. Garrett Austin wrenched it off just so we could get around him. A few takers into pit road, but not everyone. Jason Gracias comes down to pit road. Amberg, Hausman, Bounty, Darling, Charles, Cotilla, Sedarius Days. About 2/3 of the field are into pit road. Everyone else staying out. Kyle Holden leading the way. Minotzi Major running in that number 2 spot. Ethan Amberg has had a time of it. He's one of the drivers that came down to pit road, took some extra fuel in his car. Let's see if we can't get a word in with the driver of the number 14 for the Highline Motorsports Mustang, as Ethan Amber currently running in 9th. Ethan, this is Noel Rempel up here. Got a copy?
Got a copy, Nolan.
Well, it wasn't an ideal green flag pit stop run with the spin fresh out of the box, but this caution does do you wonders because it gets you right back into the fight. How are you feeling?
It's Talladega, so never feeling amazing, but it's definitely a lot better situation than I had before. Definitely that spin on pit road did not help one bit, and I wasn't going to make it on fuel there. I was sacrificing my fuel attempt to bring the rest of that other group back so we could at least have a chance.
Well, now we're going to be restarting this race with less than 10 laps to go, and anticipation and no doubt the intensity is going to be ramping up big time on this restart. A lot of drivers trying to make names for themselves. What do you think is in store for us?
Oh man, it's going to be crazy. This probably hasn't been the last caution. I feel like it's probably pretty fair to call that now. All the guys will probably try to keep it straight, but it'll be aggressive. Just got to be ready for things when they happen. Try to position ourselves for the last 2 or so laps here and see what happens.
All right, we'll wish you the best of luck and see you when we go racing once again.
Thank you, Noel. Appreciate it.
Ethan Amber currently running 9th of the Highline Motorsports crew. We get set to go back to green flag racing, this time by a wild incident puts us under the yellow flag for the 5th time today. Let's ride on board here with Ryan Newman. This was his perspective of the driver of the incident here. He just got turned. I mean, nothing he could have done about it. Garrett Austin, I think the guilty party with that one, with the 430. Oh no, he was actually completely isolated in of itself. So who ended up turning these guys? Oh, it was McDougal with that bad bump. Can't be aggressive like that. I mean, it works for some, but it doesn't always work for all. So it'll be a 9-lap dash. Ethan Amberg's assessment of the situation, probably not going to be the last time we see the yellow flag coming on out. It's an assessment that is hard to argue against, knowing how Talladega has gone. Out of the 30 cars that are running this race, you've still got, I believe, 23 of them on the racetrack, 19 of which are on the lead lap. And everyone that's out there brings a higher potential for calamity. Pace cars in. Hold it in to the Geico restart zone. Bobby Anderson on his outside. Green flag is out. Let's hop back to it. 9 laps to go from Dega. There's some 3 wide. Ethan Amberg and Jason Garcias trying to make moves. Benazzi Major caught in the sucker hole. And the driver that's been up front all night long is on the back foot. He drops from being a top 5 contender all the way down to 15th. Cotilla nearly takes out a good chunk of the field. 8 laps to go. Kyle Holden hanging on. Regan with the number 2 spot. Pirog, Amberg, Garcias, Anderson, all under a blanket. Holden jumps up to the high side. Amber trying to make a move. There's nowhere to go, though. What a block from Kyle Holden to block off the outside. Amber jumps down low. Gracias goes with him. Regan hung out to dry on the inside. He'll drop down and out, and now playoff contender Ethan Amber to the point after spinning out of pit road under green. 3 wide, though, deeper into the field. We haven't seen that work a lot tonight. They cross the line once more. We enter turn 1. They'll double it out for the most part. Every driver in this field wants to win at Talladega Superspeedway. It's one of those big name tracks that everyone wants to take off the boards. Look out, Amasi! Sliding onto the apron, he'll save it! What a bump from behind, and that almost takes out the field. 6 to go, this time by. Kyle Holden still leading the way. Bobby Anderson in second, Pirog third. Then it's Major Williams on behind him. Sedarius Days up to the top shelf. Single file throughout the field, at least for the top spot. Nobody knows where to go, so they're going to hug the middle. Usually when you see these single file trains, it's either on the bottom or on the top. I don't think they trust one another to keep those lines. They'll split it right down Broadway. And that way you can block a lot more effectively no matter what line you choose. 5 laps on the docket. Tracking up over 190 miles an hour. Here comes Darling. Pushed by Sean Bounty. Carlton Charles is there. The inside lane is fracturing. 3 wide. Look at Charles jumping to the inside. He's trying to make a lunge. Sedarius Days goes down to the inside. Make it 3 wide. Sedarius Days makes one up. Carlton Charles caught in the sucker hold. He's going to be slipping back. The outside with all the momentum to play with on the top shelf. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. 4 wide on the front straightaway. As they find out the hard what happens when you don't play nice. Darling to the inside. He's got no help. Here comes Bounty. 1 car into the wall. Turn 2. They're able to keep it off of each other, though. And we still stay green. 2 wide, coming to 3 laps to go. This time by, do we make it back to the white flag? It's going to be a mighty tall order with what these guys have got going for themselves here. Another caution forces this race to overtime. Three laps left to go in this one. Darling continuing to lead the way. You're on board with Kyle Holden as Darling chops across the nose. Here comes Sean Bounty to the front. Bounty's already taken 1 win in the Speed Cup Series career. Benazzi Major tries to go up. He can't defend, though. Gracias to the bottom. Bounty for that middle line. Now blocking left, right, front, and center. No one knows where to go. 3 wide all throughout this field. Save for about the top 7. 2 laps to go. Only 3 laps on the market, 2 laps on the docket, sorry. The top 3 pulling away from this field. They're 2 and 3 wide behind. No one is working together allowing for Gracias. Bounty throttle. Oh, there we go! Treble, do they save it? No way! No way they just saved that! They did not pull that off! I refuse to believe what I just witnessed! Are you kidding me? What a drive from the field! They somehow wreck! They were wrecked and they save it! White flag this time coming at you! We're not seeing overtime today! Sean Bounty to the point, trying to hang on! Unreal driving from the field. How did they keep that together? Sean Bounty up on the top. Kyle holding behind. Bobby Anderson running the number 3 spot. Less than 2.6 miles to go. Who's going to take the win from Talladega? Anderson knows how big a win would be in the chase at a critical juncture. Zach Willis has been turned hard to the inside wall to the back straightaway. Here comes Anderson. Regan goes with him. Darley up top. We're not done fighting yet. There's some lap traffic in the way. Entering the tri-oval. 3, 4, wide. Regan makes the move. Anderson trying to fend him off to the line. Regan steals it at the stripe. And in his first official points race, Richard Regan Jr. takes one away from points contender Bobby Anderson for the race win. Took it by about half a car length. What a finish! Take a look as they drive it down to the turn numbers 3, well, not even 3 and 4, down to the tri-oval. Makes the look out. Doring at the stripe, and as it comes down to it, that right there, the margin of victory at the line, it does not get much closer than that. Once again, about half a car the distance between them on that one. What a run for this field. I am at a loss for words. Richard Regan Jr. gonna burn it down, and well deservedly so on the front straightaway. He made the move right when it counted. He could not have waited any later than that. And he is going to take a deserving win for the driver out of Massachusetts. Want to get another look on what the heck happened on the backstretch there with just 2 laps to go. Because that field was wrecked, and you cannot convince me otherwise that they were anything other than absolutely junked. I mean, what is that? That is filthy right there. Stan Hausman, you absolute madman. Look at all of this. No, that was Zach Williams. Zach Williams with the save of a lifetime. He dropped all the way to the back. He had a broken car, but that is unbelievable. I think somebody snapped into the inside wall, except they didn't because Minazzi Major kept it off of the wall. And then finally, Zach Williams. Oh boy, there was a big crash on the back straightaway there. So it was hard into the outside wall instead of the inside. Watch Jason Shue in front. As Williams went down low, oh wow, just ran him over. No regard at all there. Both cars hard into the wall. They're both gonna slide down with Shue finding the inside fence. But what a wild race that we had this afternoon, and there's still a lot more where that came from at the tail end of things. Second rundown of those official post-race results. How we see this field coming to a close at Talladega Superspeedway. Richard Regan Jr. takes away the top spot from points contenders Bobby Anderson and Christopher Darling. Brasillas was 4th, Kyle Holden was 5th, Sean Bounty 6th, Amber 7th, Hausman 8th, Darius Days in 9th, and Tom Amasi rounds out the top 10. From there, it is Sawyer, Cotilla, Charles, Major, Cox, Shu, Purog, Williams, Newman, and Allen with only 17. Finishing on the lead lap, Bear was 2 down and then not finishing the race. So it was Mark McFadden, Garrett Austin, Tim Branson, Colton Easterday, Jason Taylor, Caleb Sheets, Martin Flute, and Ryan Shelton. I think that's got to be one of the wildest Talladega finishes I have seen in a hot minute. And we're going to get the chance now to take a rundown and give a chit-chat here to all the drivers that come home to take home some very well-deserving podium positions here this afternoon. And we're going to look to kick it off first and foremost with none other than race winner Richard Regan Jr. making the move, sniping it away right at the buzzer. Richard, what a wild race for you. You were always at the front, constantly fighting for those top spots, and right when it counted, you made the one move that clinched the win this afternoon.
Yeah, that was the most fun I've ever had on a plate track in the Cup car. That was definitely kudos to everybody in the league. You know, we had a couple incidents there, but you know, we were all digging, and I don't think any of us lifted that last lap and a half. And it's crazy that the whole field didn't wreck, but yeah, no, that was awesome. I got to thank the 59. He stayed with me a lot of that race, and yeah, I was gonna try to work with him, and then you know Bobby was behind him, and me and Bobby go back, so yeah, it was all bets were off at that point, and just trying to see who's gonna get away with the win, and I knew the side draft would kill Bobby's run, so yeah, it was nice to get the win.
Overall, you've been proving that you can be a force to be reckoned with at sometimes, especially on these plate tracks. Are you going to be out any more times to play throughout the rest of the season?
Most likely, yes, as long as I have time for it. I'm not really the best in the Cup car, so I'm trying to get used to it again. And honestly, I really like how the Cup car drives in this league with the lower fuel. It kind of suits me a little bit better because they're not as heavy. But yeah, you know, we got Las Vegas next week, and then Homestead. I'll definitely be here for Homestead. It's one of my favorite tracks, in Martinsville and Phoenix. So you'll probably see me around the majority of the rest of the season.
Well, sounds like a solid plan. In that case, we'll see you when we go racing once again over in the gambling capital of America.
Thank you. I'd like to give a shout out to Stant Analyzer, Nianas and Paints, Jay-Z Photography, Mission 22, Multiple Sclerosis Society, Susan G. Komen, all the boys at the Gold Octopus, the 59, Bobby, the Speed Series, and thank you for putting on the broadcast.
Thank you as well. That was Richard Regan Jr., the driver out of Taunton, Massachusetts, able to come home with a solid race win this afternoon, his first in the Speed Cup Series. I'll move on down to none other than Bobby Anderson, the driver that was looking for win number 5, and well, it got robbed from you right at the buzzer with that one, Bobby. But overall, not a bad way at all to kick off a playoff run.
No, man, mark this one on the schedule for the playoffs, and you know it can really mess things up. So to walk out of here with the second place and got the pole tonight, so really good points today. Just excited for that and happy for Rich. He's a good dude that I've worked with a lot before, so great win for him.
Overall, kind of talk us through the night this afternoon, because there were some ups, there were some downs, and there were some times where it looked like you were almost having a bit of a hard time trying to find some people to work with.
Yeah, my teammate Jason Taylor, he was involved in that first accident, and I guess it really killed his car, and then he got involved in the checkup on the restart, so he left pretty early. And yeah, I was just trying to have to work with myself, and luckily I found Rich at the end. But just lots of checkups tonight. I was really impressed that there weren't more wrecks than there were for as many checkups that I saw, and was really surprised that everybody was pitting there with, I think, 30 laps to go or so. That was really cutting it short on fuel. I still had about 3 laps of fuel left when we were pitting, so was surprised, but I had to come down with everybody.
Overall, it was a solid championship, well, it was a solid start at least for a championship offensive here. How confident are you that you can take your first championship of the Speed Cup Series in your rookie start?
I've got to be confident, but there's a lot of good competition out here, and some tracks that can really throw it for a loop here coming up with Las Vegas and Homestead, and certainly Martinsville is going to get crazy. So it'll be an exciting playoffs for everyone to watch, and I'm just hopeful that I can be there with a chance to win it in the last race.
Well, we'll get set to see you then when we go racing once again at Las Vegas. For now, enjoy another podium. Win number 5, though, just around the corner, no doubt.
Thanks, Nolan. Have a good night.
Bobby takes away yet another podium finish on the season, and that brings us on down to your Season 1 champion, Christopher Darling. And, well, Chris, you didn't have too much luck throughout Season 2 trying to defend that inaugural championship, but now it looks like you're not far away from finding yourself on the top step after you came in clutch for a podium right at the end.
Yeah, man. Definitely an awesome finish. It was an awesome freaking race. Just kind of crossing my fingers and hoping not to get crashed pretty much all night, and then to end it like that is pretty exciting.
Kind of walk us through your night. You qualified down towards the tail of the field. You were up 16 positions by the end of this race, tied with Tom Amasi for second most out of anybody in this race. How was the journey then from the back to the front?
It was, I'm not going to say it was smooth. Definitely had some trials and tribulations. Started, near the back, and then sort of lost the draft. Caught back up to the draft, lost the draft again, caught it back up, and it was just a lot of back and forth. But I don't know, a lot of times these things are just kind of staying alive to the end and making sure that you're actually there so you can race. So anybody can win them. So yeah, I don't know. It was a wild race.
Well, the next race that's coming on up is America's Gambling Capital. Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Nevada will be the next stop for the Speed Cup Series, and Homestead after that. So 2 more mile and a half to go. How confident are you that you can continue this strong momentum through to keep up with Bobby Anderson?
Bobby is really fast. A lot of fast guys in the field this season, so it's going to be tough. Just going to try to do my best to make sure I'm prepared. Definitely like the handful of tracks we got coming up, so it's just a matter of making sure I don't make mistakes. Definitely not going to beat these guys at all if you make mistakes, so going to have to be nearly perfect.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck then when we swing out to the west for the second to last time this season. For now, congratulations on a solid drive this afternoon from Alabama.
Thank you.
Christopher Darling comes home with the Sim Wrap Guy Chevy Camaro out of Harpersville, New York. And, well, with that is going to, I think, put a ring on racing action here this afternoon. That was absolutely insane. And there is still a lot left to come up as well throughout the Speed Cup Series and the rest of their championship. Before we can get to the remainder of the playoffs, though, you still got a bunch more racing action coming on up on Green Flag TV, including a season opener with the SRA Mini Stock Series, the Track Hawk 50 at the last Great Coliseum will play host to round number 1 of the Saturday Night Short Track Championship. The SRO Next Gen Cup as well swings out to Chicagoland with the HTRL MFRD Premier Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway for their first road course race of the season at the Roval. And then, of course, the Speed Cup Series is back in racing action when we go racing once again from Las Vegas. If you want to find more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. My name is Madola Rempel. It's been a wild one this afternoon, and there is still a lot more in store. When a championship sometimes can be won and lost when it comes down to how aggressive you're going to be. Sometimes you got to make gambles, especially if you've had a bad outing this time. Shelton has proven strong, though, at Las Vegas, so we'll see. Will there be some gambles? Well, I would expect nothing less from America's gambling capital of the world. We'll see you next time in the Nevada desert.